The Vakari High Command had conquered 17 civilizations across 3 spiral arms of the galaxy. Their success stemmed from a simple formula: identify, infiltrate, dominate. But on that fateful day in 2157, when they first detected radio signals from a blue-green world in an unremarkable solar system, they made their greatest mistake. They underestimated humanity. Fleet Commander Zirain stood on the bridge of the Dominion flagship, Eternal Night, his iridescent scales reflecting the pale blue light of Earth on the main viewport. His secondary hearts beat with anticipation as he reviewed the preliminary assessment of this new world. The reports were dismissive. A young species, barely spacefaring, still burning fossil fuels, and fighting among themselves. Perfect prey for the Dominion. "Prepare the first wave," he commanded, his voice resonating through the neural network that connected all Vakari aboard. Standard subjugation protocol. The initial assault targeted military installations across the planet's northern hemisphere. Vakari dropships pierced the atmosphere like falling stars, their plasma shields dispersing the heat of entry. They expected the usual response: panic, disarray, and swift surrender. Instead, they found empty bases. Lieutenant Kara Patel stood in the underground command center of what remained of the Indian Armed Forces, watching the alien ships through quantum-linked cameras. Her fingers danced across holographic controls, coordinating with military commands worldwide. The Vakari had made their first mistake. They'd given humanity 3 months of warning by dropping out of FTL at the edge of the solar system. "All units in position," she reported to General Rajesh Singh. "Operation Trojan Horse is ready." The general nodded grimly. "Let them think they've won. Then show them how humans fight." Across the globe, buried sensors tracked Vakari troop movements. The aliens moved with mechanical precision, securing their objectives with practiced efficiency. They found abandoned weapons, deserted barracks, and empty command centers. Their reports to the fleet grew increasingly confident. Earth, it seemed, would fall without a fight. Then came the counterattack. In New Delhi, automated defense turrets emerged from seemingly civilian buildings, their quantum-locked targeting systems finding gaps in Vakari shield harmonics. In Moscow, electromagnetic pulse generators activated beneath the streets, shorting out Vakari battle armor. In Buenos Aires, nanite swarms originally designed for industrial cleanup devoured alien alloys. But it was in Tokyo where humanity delivered its most shocking blow. As Vakari forces secured the apparently abandoned city, they detected no signs of the resistance they'd encountered elsewhere. Fleet Commander Zirain himself chose to make planetfall there, to establish his command center. Dr. Hideo Tanaka watched from his hidden laboratory beneath the Tokyo Institute of Technology as the alien commander entered the city. His life's work, the quantum entanglement device, was about to be tested in ways he'd never imagined. Initiating sequence, he announced to the international task force assembled in bunkers worldwide. The device hummed to life, its crystalline core pulsing with exotic energy. Across Tokyo, seemingly solid buildings began to shift and change, their molecular structure altered at the quantum level. The Vakari troops watched in horror as the city itself came alive. Streets became quicksand, buildings flowed like liquid, and the very air crystallized into razor-sharp shards. The quantum metamaterials, developed in secret by Earth's leading scientists, transformed Tokyo into a weapon. Zirain barely escaped with his life, his proud armor in tatters, his neural network screaming with the deaths of hundreds of his warriors. As his emergency transport broke atmosphere, he received reports of similar attacks worldwide. These humans weren't primitive at all. They were dangerous in ways the Dominion had never encountered. In orbit, Kara Patel allowed herself a small smile as she watched the alien ships regroup. "Phase 1 complete," she reported. "They know we can hurt them now." But her satisfaction was short-lived. On the main screen, hundreds more Vakari ships emerged from FTL. The real war was about to begin, and humanity would need every trick. every innovation, and every ounce of courage to survive. The Valkyrie had expected to find savages. Instead, they found equals. And as the first day of the war ended, both sides knew that nothing in the galaxy would ever be the same. 6 months into the war, the Valkyrie learned a painful lesson about human adaptability. Their neural networks, once their greatest advantage, became their greatest vulnerability. Every failed assault taught humanity more about their technology, and every retreat left behind pieces of their advanced weaponry. Admiral Jun Wei stood in the newly established Adaptive Warfare Center beneath the Himalayas, studying holographic displays of modified Valkyrie tech. Around him, scientists and soldiers from every nation worked together, their former borders and conflicts forgotten in the face of extinction. "Show me the latest from Project Phoenix," he commanded. The display shifted to reveal what looked like a hybrid of human and Valkyrie technology. Sleek combat suits that incorporated salvaged alien neural interfaces but remained uniquely human in design. Dr. Isabella Romano, the lead researcher, stepped forward. "We've cracked their neural encryption," she announced, her eyes bright with triumph. "But more importantly, we've improved it. The Valkyrie network requires perfect synchronization. Ours," she smiled, "ours thrives on chaos." The demonstration that followed changed the course of the war. 20 soldiers, wearing the prototype Phoenix suits, moved like a single organism yet maintained their individual creativity and intuition. When one found a weakness, they all knew it. When one developed a solution, they all adapted. Meanwhile, in low Earth orbit, the Valkyrie were facing another uniquely human innovation. Fleet Commander Zirain watched in frustration as another squadron of his ships fell victim to what the humans called space guerrilla warfare. They transformed their primitive satellites into weapons, turned their space debris into minefields, and somehow managed to hack the gravitational stabilizers of his support vessels. "These humans," he muttered, his scales darkening with rage. "They turn everything into a weapon." Lieutenant Commander Risha Khan led the Space Warfare Division from the secret Luna base, which the Valkyrie still hadn't detected thanks to quantum camouflage technology. She coordinated with ground teams as they launched another wave of converted communications satellites, now armed with electromagnetic pulse generators. "They expect us to fight like they do," she told her crews. "But humans have been fighting asymmetric wars since we first picked up stones against larger predators. Let's show them how creative we can be." The Valkyrie's rigid military doctrine proved to be their weakness. They couldn't comprehend why humans would sacrifice expensive equipment for tactical advantages, why they would deliberately destroy their own infrastructure to deny it to the enemy, or why they would use outdated technology alongside cutting-edge innovations. But the true turning point came when humanity demonstrated their most disturbing capability, the ability to turn the Valkyrie's own technology against them. Dr. Romano's team had not only decrypted the neural network, they'd found a way to inject false sensory data into it. During the Battle of Singapore, Valkyrie troops suddenly found themselves unable to trust their own enhanced senses. Their neural networks showed them empty streets that were actually filled with resistance fighters and hostile forces where their own allies stood. The resulting chaos led to the first major Valkyrie retreat of the war. In the Adaptive Warfare Center, Admiral Wei received reports from around the globe. Humanity wasn't just surviving. They were evolving. Every human settlement became a fortress, every civilian facility a potential weapons factory. Children taught alien language patterns to AI systems. Grandmothers turned their knitting patterns into algorithms for predicting Valkyrie attack formations, and teenagers reprogrammed gaming consoles to control drone swarms. "They don't understand us," Admiral Wei told his staff. "They see our diversity as weakness, our individuality as chaos, our creativity as primitive. They don't realize that humanity's greatest strength is our ability to take what breaks us and turn it into something stronger." The Valkyrie High Command, receiving increasingly desperate reports from Earth, made another fatal mistake. Instead of retreating to reconsider their strategy, they decided to commit their full invasion force. 10,000 ships dropped out of FTL, darkening Earth's skies. But humanity had been preparing for this moment. As Vicari ships filled the orbit, Dr. Romano activated her ultimate project. Hidden quantum transmitters around the globe synchronized, creating a field that no one had ever attempted before. Think of it as a planetary immune system, she explained to the world leaders gathered in the emergency bunker. We're about to show them that Earth itself is part of humanity's arsenal. As the Vicari launched their massive invasion, they failed to notice that the quantum field was already changing the fundamental laws of physics within Earth's gravity well. They were about to learn that humanity's greatest adaptation wasn't technological. It was their ability to change the rules of the game itself. The battle that followed would be remembered as the day when humanity proved they weren't just fighting for survival. They were fighting to reshape the very nature of warfare. And the Vicari, for the first time in their history, began to feel something they'd never expected. Fear. The quantum field that humanity had created around Earth became known as the Aegis Shield, and it changed everything. Within its influence, human technology worked with enhanced efficiency while Vicari systems experienced unpredictable failures. But more importantly, it became a symbol of what humanity could achieve when united. Director Fatima Al-Rashid stood before the newly formed United Earth Council, her voice steady despite the weight of her announcement. The Vicari invasion has given us something their empire never had. True unity in diversity. Every culture, every nation, every individual brings unique perspectives to this fight. The formation of Unidos Terra marked humanity's transformation from a collection of nations into a singular fighting force. But unlike the Vicari's forced conformity, Earth's unity celebrated difference. Each region maintained its unique character while contributing to the whole. In what remained of Berlin, quantum physicist Dr. Heinrich Weber collaborated with Maasai warriors whose understanding of complex systems helped perfect the Aegis Shield's fluctuation patterns. In Rio de Janeiro, indigenous shamans worked with AI researchers, their ancient knowledge of natural patterns enhancing predictive algorithms. The Vicari watched in growing concern as their enemy evolved. Their reports to the High Command became increasingly urgent. These humans don't just adapt, they transform. They don't just learn, they revolutionize. Every defeat makes them stronger. Humanity's first major offensive caught the Vicari completely off guard. They had expected Earth to remain defensive, to hide behind their Aegis shield. Instead, humanity brought the war to them. Admiral Wei launched Operation Prometheus, named after the mythological figure who gave fire to humanity. But this time, humanity would bring more than fire to the stars. The newly commissioned Earth Defense Fleet emerged from jump gates of human design, their ships incorporating technology that the Vicari had never imagined. Vessels powered by quantum probability drives, weapons that altered local spacetime, and defense systems that adapted faster than the Vicari could attack. Commander Zirain watched in horror as his frontier bases fell one by one. But worse than the military defeats was the psychological warfare. Humanity had learned to broadcast directly into the Vicari neural network, sharing the full emotional experience of human resistance, determination, and hope. For the first time, Vicari warriors felt what it meant to fight for freedom rather than conquest. Some began to question their empire's purpose. Others simply broke under the psychological strain of experiencing human emotions. During this phase, humanity discovered they weren't alone in their resistance. Other conquered species, inspired by Earth's example, began their own rebellions. The Vicari Empire, which had seemed invincible for millennia, began to crack. The final battle for freedom took place not above Earth, but in the heart of Vicari space. A coalition fleet, led by humanity, but including ships from a dozen liberated species, emerged from quantum space above the Vicari throne world. Dr. Romano, now head of the United Earth Science Division, had developed the ultimate weapon, not one of destruction, but of transformation. A quantum field generator that could rewrite the Vicari neural network itself. We could destroy them, she told the United Earth Council, but we choose to change them instead. That's what makes us human. The battle lasted 3 days. The Valkyrie fought with desperate fury, but they couldn't match the combined creativity and determination of the coalition. When the quantum pulse finally activated, it didn't destroy the Valkyrie consciousness. It expanded it. For the first time in their history, the Valkyrie experienced true individuality within their collective. They felt the full range of emotions they had denied themselves in pursuit of perfect unity. Their empire had ended, but their civilization was reborn. In the aftermath, humanity emerged as not just a military power, but a philosophical one. Earth became a center of learning where species from across the galaxy came to study the art of balancing unity with individuality, technology with wisdom, power with compassion. Admiral Wei, now an old man, stood on the observation deck of the Earth Defense Force headquarters, watching ships from 100 worlds move through the quantum gates around Earth. Next to him, a young Valkyrie diplomat, one of the new generation that had grown up after the transformation, asked him the question that many still pondered. How did you do it? How did humanity accomplish in decades what other species couldn't do in millennia? Wei smiled, thinking of all the battles, innovations, and sacrifices that had brought them to this point. We succeeded because we never tried to be perfect. We embraced our chaos, our differences, our mistakes. Every human is a universe of possibilities, and together, we are infinite. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Never underestimate humans, not because of their technology or their weapons, but because of their fundamental nature. In trying to conquer humanity, the Valkyrie had instead freed themselves. And in the end, that was humanity's greatest victory. End of story.